Hello and welcome. You're on the right stand. This Monday edition. I'm Anand Narasimhan. Thank you for staying with us here at CNN News 18. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to focus over the course of the next hour on China. I'm going to open up the debate and saying, is it the right time for a pandemic treaty? And is this perhaps the way forward? The way that we can make nations accountable when they unleash pandemics upon humanity. Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, Chairman, Nephron Clinic. He's also an award-winning doctor. He's with us. Dr. Satoru Nagao, fellow non-resident at the Hudson Institute, is joining us from Tokyo in Japan. And Sreeram Chaulia, foreign affairs expert, professor and dean, Jindal School of International Affairs. He's also with us along with Professor Gustin. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you very, very much. WHO was perhaps wrong in its approach where it tried to publicly praise China and back it, but privately being very, very critical about its actions because they seem to have been able to get away and plug their own particular narrative. And Dr. Nagao, one of the biggest aspects is they continue to extract bad coronaviruses. They have not shut down that lab. And Xi Zhengli continues to be the director at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, despite trying to do a gain-of-function research in a biosafety lab too. Despite all this, we could have at least called for that. We've not done that too.
Thank you. Thank you for asking. So, yes, that's true. So there's a possibility it will happen again. So pandemic treaty is better than nothing. But we should not overestimate, unfortunately, because without police, judiciary system cannot work. So in this case, who can be the police against China?
Yeah.
So China's influence is growing in the international organization such as WHO. So will it work? So that is a question. So we need a system led by open society, trustworthy leaders. This time, G7 invite India, Australia, South Africa, and South Korea. This means that these countries are candidates of the leader of this system. If we establish a system led by open society, it will work. That is an objective we should seek. That's my opinion. Thank you.
True, but then how do we go about it? Who becomes the police in this case, Sreeram Chaulia? Who becomes the police?
Well, Anand, whenever international organizations have sought to be given more intrusive powers, the sovereign states, member states of the UN have resisted it. I mean, you look at the International Atomic Energy Agency, for example. If you are a signatory of the Non-Proliferation Treaty, but you're developing the illicit nuclear weapons program, the IAEA is supposed to inspect and to go in and to check your facilities. But on that monitoring and verification aspect, sovereign states often resist and block them. And we know this with so many cases in the last 20 years of nuclear proliferation. Same with this, pandemic. We can talk about a treaty that can strengthen give teeth to the WHO and give them more inspection and intrusive, powers with which no sovereign state can put up a screen and say, you can't look inside this.
Correct.
So on paper, that's a good idea. But you see, in practice, the sovereignty, the nation-state system itself prevents any kind of such a extreme transparency or a supranational authority to come in and investigate. The only supranational or international body that can have a deep penetration into all aspects of a country is if it's a regional organization like the European Union. The member states have to comply with Brussels on many standards and regulations and monitoring and verification. Now, China, unfortunately, which has been the source of SARS in 2003 and now COVID-19 in 2019, the two of the deadliest viruses of the 21st century, is not part of any such even regional organization through which it can be controlled. So it is, exploited this whole sovereignty principle to the hilt. And what they've done is, it's like a black box. Don't look inside our society. It's our internal issue. It's none of your business. But what we are saying, like you are saying, is that, it's not an internal issue because the whole world has been enveloped by this crisis. So you can't hide with the idea that, these are my boundaries and you cannot overstep.
Exactly.
So I think having a treaty is good, and treaty does not need China's participation. There are many international treaties which set a minimum threshold of a number of countries once they are signed by a General Assembly member, UN General Assembly members, 60, 70, 80 or whatever, then it comes into force. So
correct.
some countries opt out of it. So if China opts out of it, it remains a problem. But I think there will be a kind of a treaty-based pressure to comply with norms,
No, and at least there is a way forward.